your individual voice is really powerful. You do not need to have an English degree or a scientific degree or a scientific background to write these letters to see how their language is spoken, and being able to speak that in the letter that you write is also really helpful. The reason why I think these letters are important, it's an opportunity to be involved in that decision making process. Hi there, my name is Mia Sheppard, and I am owner of Little Creek Outfitters. I've been guiding and running an outfitter on rivers like the Deschutes, the Grande, the Ronde, the Oahe, and the Sandy for about 19 years now. So I've been in the business for a long time, and I'm very passionate about the sport and about these places and about the fish. I did work for a nonprofit for about 7 years. So my topic in writing letters, I wrote a lot of comment letters for about 7 years, but even prior to that too. So yeah, I look forward to sharing just a little bit of information that I have. So thank you. And thank you, Megan and Jillian, for all your information. And wow, that was great. And a lot of good points that were brought up. And and I think using, of course, organizations to channel your voice is a great way to be an advocate. I want to focus more on the individual aspect of it, because after 19 years of being a guide in a business, I've realized that you can't always leave it up to the nonprofits to create that change. And so your individual voice is really powerful. And that's something I've experienced over the years, just being a business. And it also shows, turning in comment letters, it also shows those agencies that you do care a lot about, what's going on those rivers or the places or with the fish. And so I just wanted to highlight some of the things that, the reason why I think these letters are important. It's an opportunity to be involved in that decision making process. And when I talk about comment letters, so there's agencies, every agency, so the Bureau of Land Management or the National Forest Service, or the Army Corps of Engineer, like Jillian was talking about, all these people, all these agencies, they go through these processes when they're looking at things like, let's say on the lower Deschutes, there's, water quality issues. And so they might, or, there's a lot of recreation. And so they'll, decide that they have to, maybe address the increase in boaters on the river or something. And so they're going to come up with these reports. They're called environmental impact studies. And they're going to look and assess, like, all this data, scientific data, and they're going to look at this and go, okay, now we need to get the public involved in this process and find out what the public thinks about this. And so then they do this process. It's called a NEPA process, and it's the National Environmental Policy Act. And so all these agencies are required to go through this process and make these certain issues public. And so this is an opportunity for the public to get involved. And so over the years, I've turned in many comment letters on the Deschutes and the John Day, especially because this is where we make a living. And so, it's turning in a comment letter. It's the opportunity to express your thoughts and ideas, and also to get to know the agencies and get to know who the managers are and get to know the locals. And whenever there is an EIS or a opportunity to comment on something, these agencies will hold public meetings in the local communities. Like Marty and I just went to one a month ago in Condon regarding anyway, I won't get into what it is, but it's regarding fish and new recreational planning in this one area. And we showed up there, and there's ranchers, and there's the Chamber of Commerce, and there's all these other people that are engaged in the area and that care about this. And so it's a really great opportunity to, again, just really intimately get to know, if you love that area, just get to know, the people and the agencies, and yeah, just it gives you more stake in the game. So when you're writing a comment letter, um, you want to state directly what the subject is. The environmental impact study is going to say, let's say 30-mile or recreational planning. And so you're going to type 30-mile recreational planning, some water quality issue on the Deschutes River. And so then you want to be informative, be specific, state who you are, again, a business owner or an angler, or if you live in that district, or you don't live in the district, but you fish the river for the last 10 years or 2 years, and you really, you care about that place. So state your views. I want to say this before you do not need to have an English degree or a scientific degree or a scientific background to write these letters. I don't have an English degree or a science background, but I have, experience being in these places. Gather the information, look online, gather the data, and if it relates to a bill, you want to state what the bill is. They want accurate information. They want new information. So the Bureau of Land Management, when they have these reports that they show the public, they're going to state alternatives for maybe going in a direction for how they want to manage something. And so, you want to suggest maybe a new alternative. So again, give them as much information as you can. And you want facts. You want to be courteous, and definitely you don't want to attack anybody. So they don't like that. So yeah, keep it local. Explain the hometown relevance on the issue and how it's important to you. Be constructive and positive about the issue, and helpful, and always at the end, state that you appreciate their work, and they do appreciate that. This is just a couple examples. High water temperatures in the lower Deschutes is harmful for steelhead. But, give them some data and some hard facts that you find online, and let them know that releasing colder water will help fish. Bad comments, stop killing our fish. And I've been looking, well, again, because I care about these rivers a lot, the Grande and the Deschutes, I look at the management plan. So the Deschutes and the Grande are managed by the Bureau of Land Management, and there's some co-managers, but they come out with these recreational plans that are 400 pages long, but there's specific information in those documents regarding fish and wildlife and recreation. Getting to know, you don't have to read those plans page by page, but looking in there to see how their language is spoken and being able to speak that in the letter that you write is also really helpful. And in those documents, they also list comments that have been turned into them. And so it's really fun to look at some of those comments and see, what people have written. And and I've been told by BLM managers that comments that basically don't have any substance to them, they're not considered. So when I found that out, that was just a couple of months ago, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So at first I'm like, so I have to be a scientist to write a letter? And it's like, no, you just need to do some research and make it personal. Tell them about your experience and what you see on the river, and how that impacts you as an angler. And this was an example of a letter, but I think it's really hard to see. But if anyone would like to see an example, I'm happy to share that with you via email. how to find information on agencies, online. Just these are different. Let's see, the Bureau of Land Management, Environmental Quality, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. But clicking on those links right there will bring you to news releases, and you can find out what they are seeking public comment on. You can also find out your state legislative website as well. Terminology, RMP, Resource Management Plan, that's the guide to the project. EIS, the Forest Service will use that. The BLM will use that. The Army Corps of Engineer, they use EIS, Environmental Impact Study. So that's the statement outlining the impacts. Your NEPA process, and that's the law requiring the federal agencies to assess environmental impacts. That's just a kind of a quick and dirty overview of writing comment letters. Again, it's just I think it's a really powerful way to express your voice and also to have a stake in the game. And then I'm excited to hear what Stuart has to say about what happens to those letters. I know that the BLM, they've told me that they are required to read each and every one and consider everything in the letter, but it's going to be great to hear more about that. That's it. Thank you.